Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Darati Swaparantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudapatakamalам Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raguna Tanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Pando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषाभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Haribo. Welcome to the reading session. Which verse let's find it. Oh, we left at, I think this is chapter, is it 10? Yes. Chapter 10, text number 6. Maharshaya sapta purve chattvaro manavastata madbhava manasa jata yesham loka imah praja. Maharashyaha, the greatest sages. Sapta 7. Oh, 1 second. Purve, before. Chatvaraha, 4. Manavaha, manus. Tatha, also. Madbhavaha, born of me. Manasaha, from the mind. Jataha, born. Yesham, of them. Loke, the planets. Imaha, all this. Prajaha, population. Translation. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, are born out of my mind. And all creatures in these planets descend from them. So they specially born from the mind of Krishna. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord known as Hiranyagarbha. So the lotus flower. And from Brahma, all the 7 great sages, and before them 4 other great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, and the Manus are manifest. All these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes and innumerable planets within each universe, and each planet is full of population of different varieties. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penance for 1,000 years of the demigods before he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. Here it is said that 1,000 years of... 1 second. 3, 9, 10. I'm trying to see one thing. 1 second. This chapter. See, here in this verse, it is said that the greatly learned sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, Brahma does engage himself in penances for 100 celestial years. So here it is 100 celestial years. So I think 100 Brahma celestial years, because here it is said 1000 years. There is something that I don't understand about this. Maybe it's in relation. 100 Brahmas years is 1000 years of demigods, maybe. That I was trying to see.
I think it's Brahma Day, Brahma Day, actually.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I think it's relative the time.
Yeah.
Then from Brahma, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara came out, then Rudra, and then the 7 sages. And in this way, all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Krishna is known as the Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. That is stated in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 1139. Ribol. Okay, who wants to read the next one?
May I, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhu.
Chetam vidhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tatvatah sovikalpena yogena yojiyate natra samya. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandapanaja, Prabhu. Natra samsyaya. Chetam, all this vibhutim occurrences, yogam cha, also mystic power, mama of main, yaha, anyone viti knows tatvatah, actually, saha, he, avyakalpena, without deviation, yogena, in devotional service, yujyate, engaged, na, never, atra, here, samshayaha, doubt. Translation: he who knows in truth this glorify and power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service of this, there is no doubt. Purport: the the highest some bit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different appearances of the Lord, Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Here are the details. If one knows actually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the appearances of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. This factual knowledge can be known from the description in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and similar lectures. In the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout the planetary system, and the chief of them are Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the 4 great Kumaras and other patriarchs. Patriarchs. There are many forefathers of the population of this of the universes, and all of them are born of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the original forefather of all forefathers. These are some of the appearances of the Supreme Lord. When one is firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. All this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in the loving devotional service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is, for by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. May I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Aham sarvasya prabhuvo matha sarvam paravartate yeti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvitaha aham I sarvasya all of Prabhava, Prabhava, source of generation, Matha, from me, Sarvam, everything, Parvat, Parvatate, emanates, iti, those, Matva, knowing, Bhajante, becomes devoted, Mam, unto me, Buddha, learned, Bhava, Samanvitaha, with great attention. Translation: I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The voice who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. Purport: a learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply this teaching can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds, and because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature arrives that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, it is said, Yo Brahmanam Vidatte Purvam Yo Vai Vidam Cha Gopayati Sama Krishna. It was Krishna who is the being instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again it is said, Asa Puruso Havai Narya no Kama Kamayata Praja Sirjiya Ite Upakaramaya. Then the Supreme Personality Narayana decided to create living entities. Again, it is said, Narayana Brahmajayate, Narayana Paraja, para, Prajapati, Prajapati, Prajayate, Narayana Indro Jayate, Narayana Astu Vasavo Jayanti Narayanad Ekadasa Rudra Jayante Narayanad Dvadasa from Narayana Brahma is born, and from Narayana the patriarchs means Prabhu, you know, patriarch. Okay, Prabhu, I understand. From Narayana, Brahma is born, and from Narayana, the Patriarchs are also born. From Narayana, Indra is born. From Narayana, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayana, the 12 Adityas are born. Bhagavad Gita. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmano Vedaki Putra. Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Then it is said, Yeko Vahi Narayana Asin Na Brahmana Istano Napo Nagni Samho Nime Yayo Apritri Na Naksatrini Na Suryaha Sa Ekaki न ramate tasya dhyananatta dhyana ananta satyasya yatra chando kihai kriyamanstakadhi samjinakha sorry, sukti stomha stomam vichyate. Oh, sorry, Prabhu, I can't read that one.
No problem, Prabhu. Haribol.
So I'm like, Prabhu, if I read like wrong in wrong way, it causes offenses. Prabhu.
No, Prabhu. No. There is no, the pronunciation doesn't matter. Krishna doesn't hear pronunciation.
Okay, thank you. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality of Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Vishnu, sorry, no Shiva, no fire, no moon, no stars in the sky, no sun. There was only Krishna who creates all, the enjoys all. In the many Puranas, it is said that Krishna Shiva was born from the highest, the Supreme Lord Krishna. And the Vedas says that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma, Krishna also says, Prajapatim cha Rudram chape aham eva srijami vahito hi mam na vijantito mama maya vimohito. The patriarchs Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusionary energy. In Varaha Purana, it is also said, Narayana Paro Devas Tasmaj Chatur Mukha Tasmad Rudro Bhavad Bhavadevah Sacha Sarvanatam Gatha. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says that because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master and from Vedic literature, who engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness, becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna consciousness person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. May I continue, Prabhu? Is there time?
Haribol. Yes, Prabhu. You can read one more.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Madchitta madgatta prana bodhyanta parasam paras parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tusyanti cha ramanti cha madchitta minds fully engaged in me. Madgata prana lives devoid to the service of Krishna. Bodhyanta preaching paraspara among themselves. Katyantha cha talking also. Mam about me. Nityam perpetually. Tusyanti or pleased. Cha also. Samanti enjoy. Transcendental blessed. Cha also. Translation: the truth, the truth of my the truth of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they breathe great satisfaction and bless en- enlightening one another and conversing about me. Purport. Few devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely, solely on the trans and on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse. Specifically, devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotion service, they release the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can release the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. Lord Chaitanya like likens transcendental devotion service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entities. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a few devotee and get the chance to understand devotion service. This devotion service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the seed fruitis, fruitifies, fruitifies just as the seed of a tree fruitifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant planet of devotion service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahma Jyoti effulgence in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, also that the plant grows more and more until it reaches an highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavana, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the planet takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and resides there gradually. As the planet grows fruits and flowers, the plants of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is explained there that when the complete plant complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, Lord Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord. Just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narration about the relationship between Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, sense gratification or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the relation of souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literature, just as a young boy and girl takes pleasure in the in association. Reward. Who wants to continue?
Reward. Thank you so much.
Reward. Thank you so much.
Who wants to read?
Can I read?
Reward. Yes.
Thank you. Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti pulvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. Tesham unto them. Satata yuktanam, always engage. Bhajatam, in devotional service. Priti purvakam, in loving ecstasy. Dadami, I give. Buddhi yogam, real intelligence. Tam, that. Yena, by which. Mam, unto me. Upayanti, come. Te, they. Translation. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapters, the Lord instructing Arjuna said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now Buddhi Yoga is displaying Buddhi Yogam itself is action is Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his actions is called Buddhi Yogam. In other words, Buddhi Yogam is the process by which one gets out of entanglement of this material world, the ultimate goal of progress in Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruit of activities, he is acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculation to understand Krishna, he is acting in jnana yoga. And when he knows the goal of and seek Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in bhakti yoga or buddhi yoga, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. Person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but still, if he is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gave him instruction so that he may ultimately comes to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of service. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is intelligent enough, he will make progress on the path of self-realization. If one is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord give him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him.
Reward.
Haribo.
Yeah, this was nice part that a person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But still, if he's
Yeah,
not intelligent enough, then the Krishna from within gives instructions. This is also, we can see how if one has a spiritual organization like ISKCON and he has some spiritual master, usually it's not bona fide, but from inside, Krishna usually gives some people who are like serious that they want to progress, then usually they come to ISKM because
Yeah,
Krishna gives
they,
information.
they
Yes,
have to be
so
sincere. Sincere.
this was exactly you are telling that.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Haribol, next one.
Can I read one more?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Tesam evanukampaltam aham agyanajam tamaham nashayami atma bhavasto yana dipena basvata. Tesam, for them, eva, certainly, anukampahaltam, to show special mercy. Aham, I, agyanajam, due to ignorance. Tamaha, darkness. Nashayami, despair. Atma, within. Bhavashtaha, themselves. Jnana, of knowledge. Dipena, with the lamp. Bhashvata, growing. Translation: out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Purport: when Lord Chaitanya was in Benares, promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Prakashananda, a very influential and learned scholar in Benares at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of devotees are in darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive, sentimentalist. Actually, that is not the fact. They are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee does not take advantage of their literature or of his, his spiritual master, if he is sincere in devotional service, he is helped by Krishna within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The modern philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education, and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principle, are still helped by Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead simply by speculating. For the supreme truth is so great that it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the supreme truth, he will never understand Krishna or the supreme truth. Only by devotional service he is this. Only by devotional service is the supreme truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart. Therefore, he is just like the sun that dissipates the darkness of ignorance. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association through many, many millions of births, one heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engage in devotional service and constantly chant Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal of Vishnu can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the necessities of life. He need not to be anxious, because when he remove the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord. For he is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the Gita's teaching. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a completely surrendered soul to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. Thank you very much, Prabhu. All glory Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Arjuna Uvacha Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Sasvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rashayah Sarve Devarishir Naradastata Ashito Devalo Vyasa Svayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Param Supreme, Brahma Truth, Param Supreme, Dhamma Sustenance, Pavitram Purest, Paramam Supreme, Bhavan yourself, Purusham Personality, Sasvatam Original, Divyam Transcendental, Adidevam Original Lord, Ajam Unborn, Vibhum Greatest, Ahu say, Tvam unto you, Rishayaha Sages, Sarva all, Devarishi, the sage amongst the demigods, Narada, Tata also, Ashitaha, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Svayam personally, Cha also, Eva certainly, Pravishi explaining me unto me. Translation. Arjuna said, you are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. All the great sages such as Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa proclaimed this of you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. Purport. In these two verses, the Lord gives a chance to the modern philosopher, for here it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had once boldly declared, you are Parabrahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And previously Krishna states that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Lord Krishna. That ignorance is removed perfectly by the discharge of devotional service. This is already explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now by his grace, Arjuna is accepting him as the supreme truth in concordance with the Vedic injunctions. It is not because Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna that he is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Person of Godhead, the Absolute Truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these 2 verses is confirmed by Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes to devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by Vedic injunction. In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahman is the rest of everything, and Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. The Mundaka Upanishad confirms that the Supreme Lord in whom everything is resting can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of him. This constant thinking of Krishna is Smaranam, one of the methods of devotional service. It is only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand his position and get rid of this material body. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is accepted as the purest of the pure. One who understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure can become purified from all sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities unless he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as the supreme pure compiles with the injunctions of Vedic literature. This is also confirmed by great personalities of whom Narada is the chief. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. He is the supreme existence. He is free from bodily needs, birth, and death. Not only does Arjuna confirm this, but all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas, and histories in all Vedic literatures, Krishna is thus described, and the Supreme Lord himself also says in the fourth chapter, although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles. He is the supreme origin, he has no cause, for he is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanating from him. The perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Here Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses. This is called parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible by so-called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in Vedic literatures, stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. Okay, now let's read Sixastakam prayers. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावादूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं गुणां विदस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नामकारि बहुधान्य सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन कालाये तादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवं मीदृशं हैजनीननुग्रह
Linadapi sunichinam talolapi saishnunam amanina manadinam kirtaniya sadahari.
नटनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वजगति सकमये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितां मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपय तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
युगायितं नयनं गदलाशु धराय वदनं गद्गदा हृदया गिरा पुलकेर्निचिन्तं वपुखदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda vilahena me.
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनस्तु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा तथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो अप्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः
Tribol, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and those you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of all prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharajananda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna has my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Haribol.
3 ki jai.
Right.
Jai.
Where is this? Okay, who remembers what is the first offense?
I can't remember the first one. I remember the third and
I can't either. That's why I was asking, because I don't remember it. I was testing if any. What it is actually to.
To blaspheme the
Blaspheme the
Oh, it is.
devotees who have
Yeah, it's
dedicated
here.
their love.
Yes, Prabhu. Terrible.
blaspheme the devotees.
I
Yes.
do. I think blaspheme the devotees.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, the 10 offenses to the holy name. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
To consider
the
the
name.
names of the. Okay, continue. Go on, go on. Go on, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in Persian to the Vedic version.
5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fructive activity of Karma Kanda.
9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment. Even after understanding so many instructions on this matter, it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema Haribol.
Tribol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Sindhuvev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
पंचतत्व की जय, नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय,
Jai,
कृष्ण चैतन्य
Jai,
प्रभु की जय,
Jai,
प्रभुपद की जय,
Jai,
नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे
Jai,
हरि हरि
Jai, Hari Hari Bol.